Sharing. That's it. already.
Okay, there we go. All right,
Mm.
let's take it again from the top. Okay, welcome everyone to Alpha Tuesdays. I am your host, MintpalGhost. The illustrious Supreme Leader is taking a break from Alpha Tuesdays, and we are going to take a bit of a pivot on Alpha Tuesdays. And we are joined by Sky. Some of you may have heard him already. Sky, please uh, say hello to everyone.
Hello, everyone. I'm very glad to be here with my very good friend Mint, and very excited for whatever alpha he has to share. Thank you, Mint, for having me. Release my volume.
Try it again. I increased it a little.
Yeah. So I'm very glad to be here to join my friend Mint. I'm very excited to hear what all alpha he has to share. I think I'm audible now. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Welcome. So, Alpha Tuesdays has historically focused on GameFi, and we will talk about GameFi, but we also wanted to sort of broaden our point of view and basically take a look at the current landscape of crypto, kind of how we got here, where we're going, and kind of just helping the people stay alive, stay positive, and stay focused through the bear market. We'll also be focusing on emerging trends in different sectors and projects that will usher the next wave. It's often said that bear markets are for building. It's kind of a cliche, but it's true. With each wave of pain and redistribution that we see, and the more people get shaken out. Um, but this is just a time to regroup, refocus, and allow any wounds that we may have to heal over as scars. You know, and these scars, they're there. Not to dwell on what you did wrong and to beat yourself up, but just to remind you how you'll do things differently in the next wave. Because make no mistake, that next wave, it will come. May seem like an eternity, a year in crypto, especially when you're just entrenched in the markets. It just seems like such a long time. Some people may even have to go back to the job they hated or find another job. Maybe even have to sell some shit, but that's all right. The sun will shine again, friends. I think the worst thing you could do now would be to rage quit and mess around and miss all these legendary opportunities that are coming. It's easy to forget how massive of a human advancement this is. But anyhow, that's just a little pep talk, because I know people are weary. Hell, I'm weary, but I didn't come this far to turn back and, only return after CNBC's top calling in 2024. So we're just going to keep it light and fun, teach some some fundamental analysis methods, and keep you guys engaged just enough so you have your finger on the pulse of crypto and allow you the breather you need to get recharged for the next mega run. So kind of the first thing I wanted to talk about was just a little bit of the Luna postmortem. I know this horse has been beat to death, but Sky conducted a pretty cool analysis, just looking at more of a global approach and what we can learn. And Sky, you want to talk a little bit about lessons learned?
Yeah. So, yeah. So we know the details of how the depegging happened. But just leaving apart the technical side of things, if we see that whenever there is a bubble which bursts, so what I have seen from my experience of going through various bear markets and bull markets is that the cycle comes first and the human reaction comes after that. For example, like if the when the bubble is blowing up, then everything is going good, and even the shit coins are outperforming the best of assets which are there, and there is no fundamental to that. It's just the frenzy which and the human psychology and the greed which makes the bubbles bigger and bigger, and the inverse happens when the bubbles pop. So what this is my personal understanding of how markets work. And now, as we have seen, when the bear market has started, we as humans, we want to find rational to every event which is happening. We want to find the effect and the cause of the effect. So, for example, right now we already knew through technical analysis that when the price broke down from important support zones, we saw capitulation candles, we saw high bearish momentum, and then we saw various stories and news unfold. We can give the cause of the bear market to the Fed. We can give it to now. Right now, there is a lot of FUD about the protocols going bust, the projects going bust. Luna got bust. So the thing is that when the bear market comes, it's the effect of the price, and price has a great impact on the psychology of people, and the things which happen after that because of the panic which is created in the market. It is, for me, it is the effect of the cause of the price movement and price direction. So we have seen, we can learn a lot of lessons. We have learned lessons from bear markets, and bear markets, we know they are always there on the cards. And if the price has gone up too much, it will also go down. So we know that. And when it happens, we try to find reasons, secondary reasons behind it. But if you just purely see the price and do technical analysis, you don't even have to look at the news or look at even what the Fed is doing, or look at this is my personal opinion. Everybody has their own take. For example, today itself, like there is a there is a expectation that there will be a 75 BPS on when the Fed when the Fed comes out with their call.
Right.
But we see that Bitcoin price has already priced that in. And even if I'm not concerned about what the Fed is doing, I can see things on the chart, and this comes through if you have been a technical analyst in the markets for a long time, you know what the price is doing, and you can actually even ascertain or imagine the news which will be following it. Earlier on it used to be China FUD, or China is banning something, or
Right.
something is going to happen. Theta, Theta FUD will come out. Right now it is a Fed situation which is there. It is like the accepted, and all everybody is informed about that. This is why it is happening. This information was very relevant in February, and I only saw very few traders talking about the Fed situation that time. And that time it was extremely important. But right now it has become common knowledge, and what we are seeing is that price is front running all this. So, and even the Luna crash, now it has given fear to people that a lot of other funds will go bust, and Michael Saylor will there'll be a margin call, or somebody else will be there, experiencing the margin call. So all those are effects of the bear market. And if as a trader, I just want to look at important support zones. Now, right now, we are seeing that the price is finding support on a 4-year moving average. 4 years is an important moving average because of the halving. So, of course, we were looking at the VWAP from the halving. We are looking at moving averages from the halving. 4-year cycle has given us a psychology, as a mass psychology of behavior. That's why these moving averages provide important support for price, and that's why this support was important. Secondly, this support is important because of the electricity price of mining Bitcoin. So right now, where we are, it is actually we are at the break even of the miners, and now if they are the last people to capitulate in a bear market, and if this support falls, then there can be panic. But the thing is that this support is for me, it is a very valid support, and it is a strong zone from where the price can be supported. So talking about Luna, so there are a lot of lessons which we can learn from it. That when people are looking at such projects, they have very high expectations. We saw Luna rise to a great extent very quickly, and people had this mindset that it is too big to fail. So this is the narrative. For if you hear this narrative that it is too big to fail, then you have to be cautious.
Yep.
So you have to know that there are no impregnable castles. There are no irrepressible people. Neither crypto ecosystem is too big to fail, and things always become obvious after the fact has happened. Now everybody knows that Luna had to fail, depegging had to happen, somebody had a coordinated attack, and how easy this trade was for them to take or to create. But before that, at that time, I still remember we were talking on Discord when we were charting Luna, and we were even a lot of us mentioned that we are exiting Luna here. So even our RSI, the simple RSI was showing us the loss of momentum on higher time frames. So that is it is a show, if you are, they have shown their hands, and we are aware that something is wrong. We don't know the story behind it, the narrative behind it, which will come later, but we know that something is happening, because if monthly RSI is forming a very big divergence and the price is still going up, it means that it is setting up a bull trap. So
Sure.
that was one of it.
Sure.
And then, if you want to jump in, I have like lot of lessons.
Sure.
I can continue
Sure.
with.
Yeah, I think you know it like you said, things can often be so obvious after the fact, but and a lot of these fundamental events, they are evident in price, because in Subverto, we ascribe to price being, it's primacy. It is where the rubber meets the road, and it's when you're talking about too big to fail and looking at these stable coins. I mean, there are people out there that look to a lot of previous events in history where anytime someone tried to peg something to fiat, it just did not. It's never ended well. And it's kind of foreboding in a way, but it's worth experimenting and trying to improve upon. Honestly, we talked about, I'm surprised Tether has persisted so long. I mean, they've had so much FUD and other things against them, but they still seem to be chugging along.
Yeah, some funds have to be kept for later bull markets, I think.
Sure.
Something that. But
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, as traders, we have to be extremely aware, and we have to be careful and not be naive. It's a pleb mentality to think that something in crypto is too big to fail. You have to understand crypto is such a new asset class that actually, apart from Bitcoin, everything, when I started to trade and till now, when I trade, I only believe in Bitcoin and as for fundamentals, and for anything else, when I'm trading for long-term investments, I have to believe that everything is a scam apart from Bitcoin. This is my personal understanding when I'm trading anything apart from Bitcoin in crypto space, because it is such a nascent stage in its evolution that it might take 10 years for something to perform. And for me, that is not the time zone I'm playing. If I'm playing like 1 year, 2 years, and I'm making swing trades or playing directional trades. So then I have to consider that anything can go wrong with all these other assets. They can be rug pulls. There can be something wrong with their technicals. There can be something wrong with their codes. There can be something wrong with their team. And there's too many probabilities which of things getting wrong, that
Sure.
I have to factor that into my stop loss. So I can't believe in projects right now if I'm
Sure.
not in the core team. I will tell you personally, I was in a core team of one of the coins. I didn't even believe it in that, because it's the space is such, because the space is new, and everything will be rinsed and repeated, everything. So Ethereum is one thing which has stood the test of time. You have seen how Solana and all the Sam coins have performed, and how much faith people had in them. And Ethereum is one of it, which has gained some credibility, but still, like when you are entering and diversifying your portfolio, it has to be still be 80% Bitcoin and 20% of Ethereum, or like something like that, or 60%, 70% of
Right.
Bitcoin, or 30% Ethereum, because that is the risk attached with these other things. And when you have made 10x on something, it's very hard for things like to hold those things. Only you take 70-80% off the table and keep the rest of it, just for being lucky. It's a luck game with all the other coins. So with Luna, yeah. So with Luna, we have to, like, one other lesson after this first one. The second lesson I want to share is that we have to be prepared for a black swan event. And you have to know in your psychology that black swan events are possible. It has happened in within 3 years. We have seen a corona drop. So not having black swan events in your mindset is a fallacy. And so you have to understand that everything is unpredictable. You have to manage risks. Even if your technical analysis is super good, then also you have to put a stop loss and know the invalidations. And you normally expect that a situation has a potential to give very severe consequences. And black swan events are characterized by the extreme rarity, severe impact, and widespread insistence. They are very obvious in the hindsight, but
Of course.
yeah, it's difficult to have them in mind in the starting.
Of course.
So yeah.
That's it's interesting to hear you say that. I feel like that's important to have that sort of skepticism um, with these projects. But at the same time, I mean, that's where the beta is, right? These absurd gains. They're possible. They're they're what people dream of. Honestly, I mean, and that's kind of you know that's where we're going to be focusing some more efforts in Alpha Tuesdays, just to find, what sort of tools do we have to find those projects, that make these wild runs. And now that things are so utterly destroyed, over the next few months we can start to really build our confidence around projects that are likely to survive. And that's what we're going to be looking at within Alpha Tuesdays, using fundamental analysis and using different tools at our disposal to see who the survivors are. I mean, technical analysis is an absolute must. And just realizing that an investor is still a trader. It's just on a high time frame. And one trap that I know I've fallen for is getting my time frames convoluted with accumulating some of these coins, like some of this stuff that I accumulated in 2018 and 2019 and took nice profits on, but separating out what your time frame is and when to take those profits, that can be very difficult. I know people have held things through 300x pumps and not sold anything. I mean, and it's crazy, but it's, there's plenty of people out there, and I'm not faulting anyone for it. um, I mean, shit, all the stuff that I sold, I mean, it's crazy. I noticed a transaction recently on KuCoin from 2019. I was looking up some tax stuff, and I had like a transaction for 700,000 FTM. 700,000 FTM that it was like sold, right, back in 2019. I obviously, I saw some promise in FTM, but then, sold it back then for God knows what reason. But I think that's just something to think about going forward. We can, though a lot of these things, call them scams or whatever, there's plenty of people and plenty of efforts being put into some of this stuff that will end up being relevant in the landscape going forward. I mean, so
For sure.
all of that to just sort of say we're gonna talk about some tools. We're keeping it kind of broad and light today, but we'll get into more depth in further future episodes where we'll look at some different tools to find these big runners before they ever get there. Find these trends when they're emerging, when everyone is beat down and everybody rage quits and leaves the market, and they're just like they can't take it anymore. It's kind of like exiting a position, right? When you're underwater, you just want to leave, just so that the pain stops, right? I mean, everybody's been there, and you either quit or you learn from it, and we are where we are. Whatever has happened, and now you just have to look forward, and when everybody has rage quit, that's when you can find these big 200-300x runners, and it starts now, honestly. I mean, in the next few months, and you have to really go extremely slow and be very selective. But that's what we're gonna try to help people with. Um, yeah, I think we can find some good stuff, and we can talk about that a little bit if you want, Sky. Like, um,
Yeah.
just kind of looking at some past sectors that performed well. Um,
Yes.
what comes to
This is a
mind?
time.
What comes to
Yeah.
mind for you, Sky? Like looking at like what do you think performed best this last cycle? I mean, I kind of have some that I think just looking at.
See, there are some rules, in like some of the books I've read, and a little bit of experience which I've had is that the leaders of the past don't perform well in the next cycle. The leaders of the previous cycle don't perform best in the next cycle, and
Sure.
this is not a rule of thumb, but it is a rule which has been established. But it can, of course, it is just a probable rule to have. But one thing which you said is very important is that this is actually the time to go for finding shit coins. The time is not when the bull market is raging. That is the time when the traps are being set for people. There's another lesson which I've learned from Luna and also from the previous bull market crash, is that there is a bias which people have. It's called reflexivity, and it's a theory of positive feedback loops. So when the thing gets big and people are earning a lot of money from a token, they give feedback. There's a feedback loop. Everybody is sharing a good experience of the money which they have made, and everybody is confirming each other's beliefs further and further. So it becomes very hard to sell for people in those times. And this is something when everybody is making noise and something is being blown up. It is very popular, and everybody believes that yes, no, this is going to be the next thing. Generally, in the bull market tops, when the price has gone 10x, that is the sign that you should be very very careful, or you should be just be out. And that is one of the biggest lessons. And this is the time right now where everybody, if you talk to all the plebs, right now I was talking to some of my friends who just got in crypto in 2022, and they are cursing crypto. They are like, it is
Yeah.
just such a money grabbing
Scam.
scheme.
Scam.
So course, in this scam, where people have made 1000x and you are entering that time and then you're losing everything. Then you're saying it is a scam. Of course, it is. They will feel like that, and when this feedback loop starts, that everybody starts, saying that it is a scam, it is a scam, and they reinforce each other's bias, and they start to capitulate. Then that is the time to find the new projects, the
That's
new
right.
people who are just building it, building new tokens, and if you and then you do all your analysis of tokenomics and how much value is locked in, and use your Nansen and everything else, which I'm sure Mint is a champion of, and we will go through those and a lot of different protocols in the
Oh yeah.
coming streams in details, and
Yeah.
we have to identify the method of identifying these coins, the method of identifying low market cap coins, why low market cap coins as a risky bet are actually can change your life also. So there's a lot of alpha, and this alpha can be used in a bear market only, and not in a bull market. Bull market, you are just using technical analysis to just play the direction of
Right.
some token,
Right.
small time. Here, what we are talking about is a longer time frame hold for 1000x. And yeah, I'm sure Mint has helped me in the past years, and I know he is so brilliant with his work. And it will be a pleasure to learn from you, my
Oh,
friend.
thank you. Likewise. I did want to take a moment. Looks like in questions in the chat, someone asked, "Was this a Black Swan event for Luna?" I would say, yeah. I think Luna was sort of the was absolutely the Black Swan event. And when something like this happens, I think we're still seeing some of the unwinding of that event. Just occur across some of these hedge funds and other funds that may have had money tied up into these protocols. And oh my God, the FUD right now, for SBF and Three Arrows Capital. Someone, it looks like I was just reading through. It looks like maybe they got margin called. Um, yeah, like you mentioned, Michael Saylor. A lot of people think like, oh, they're liquidated at 21K. I think that was disproven. They said that they just needed to add to their positions.
Yeah,
Um,
it's all fun right now.
so yeah, what are my views on Three Arrows Capital? I haven't, yeah, on them being margin called. I just saw a little bit about it, and I can't
Yes, it's
speak in depth about that, but um, I did want to surprise you guys with a guest speaker who we have on the show. Thank you for hanging in there with us for 42 minutes and through our technical difficulties while I cut my teeth here. So I want you guys to welcome Supreme Leader onto the show.
Woohoo!
Surprise guest. Are you there, Supreme?
I am here. Yes. Hello.
Awesome.
Hello,
Awesome.
everyone. How is everyone? Hope you're all good, etc.,
Okay.
etc.
Yeah. So, Supreme, thank you for being willing to come back on the show, and man, just have big shoes to fill. So, you
I'm
know.
sure you'll be fine. Can I just say something really quickly, right? Sky just said it was absolutely hilarious. If you ask all the plebs, and then he said, "I spoke to some of my friends," and Sky, with friends like you, who needs enemies, dude? Like seriously.
Yeah, we know what he's talking about. I mean, you have to take the general consensus. The people who are jumping in. Like, I feel like I was the good sentiment measure. Maybe I still am, as the resident plebe.
That's good, man. I've been enjoying listening, to be honest. It's like really really chilled and lots of good info. So yeah, good stream.
Cool, man. So, Supreme, I did want to ask you that same question that I asked Sky. So, in looking back over this last cycle, we can kind of look at what performed well, and what were the narratives around that performed well. Maybe also what didn't perform as well, and maybe hasn't had its day in the sun. Um, you know, we kind of saw that happen with certain coins that debuted late in 2018, that it was just too late for them. Maybe like some of the decentralized storage projects. Filecoin comes to mind. It didn't do shit when it came out, but man,
Oh God, no.
it went sideways for 2.5 years, and then it just went on this mega run. So what do you think? What's going to be, what's going to be that runner that hasn't had its day in the sun?
I think like in terms of market sectors, if we look back to what happened, last year, where retail really came was the dog money, and I think something similar to that, like some sort of meme coin narrative, maybe Doge again. I think, yeah, definitely that would be the first sector I'd be looking at. I think that was one of my big lessons, is like underestimating the power of retail and the power of dog money. Like that they were just so retarded that they would buy anything. Like they would buy dog money, right? And they actually legitimately thought it was worth something. So I think like that's the first thing, is like what is retail going to buy? Is it going to be meme? Is it stupid? Does it do nothing? Because I think like that was one of my fallacies. Like I did trade Doge and I did well out of it, but like I was kind of like, but I'd rather have these DeFi coins. They do something, I get yields and whatever. And really it should have just been like, who cares, just buy dog money. And stuff like Cardano as well, like once again, it doesn't do anything, but like all retail piled into that because of the unit cost bias. So I think that's one. The other three would be obviously metaverse. Like it's not going away, and I was really surprising how like everyone has just forgotten that this is going to be the massive story arc for us over like the next decade, right? It's going to be all about metaverse. All the Zoomers are going to be metaverse. The generation under Zoomers are going to be metaverse native and things like that. And that ties into Web3, and Web3 enables the ownership of the assets within metaverse. So like that's not going away, right? It's just that we have to keep an eye on the space to see who's going to be like the really big winners. And maybe it might not be coins because of the vesting unlocks and VCs are just going to eternally dump on you, but it might be land and assets that just go really, really crazy.
Yeah.
The third one is obviously games. Like I was speaking to a few of my friends, and like we game regularly, like every Tuesday. We play Call of Duty, Warzone, whatever. That didn't happen like 5-6 years ago. We weren't doing that, but now we all do. And there's like there's a group of 6 or 7 of us who play every week. So when you think about and this is something Sear said, when you think about the amount of people who do game, it's a lot of people, and that they potentially, as Sear said to me, they will be the backbone for the next wave of crypto adoption. It may be that with play to earn in its current phase, where the ROIs are really, really crazy, that actually changes. So when we actually get proper studios like Ubisoft and whatever start bringing out their games, the ROIs are going to be like 6 months down the future. That it's going to be 6 month ROI and not like 1 month ROI, like right. Stepping or whatever, because it makes it more sustainable and you can have more people in the ecosystem. And something Vance Spencer said actually like really resonated with me. He was like, if there's 1,000 play to earn games and 10% of them are successful in attracting 1 million users, that's the next 100 million people onboarded into crypto, and they become crypto native, as it were. So that's obviously going to be like a massive thing. We just need to see how it develops. I think like my pick is Aurori from that. It just seems just so incredibly awesome, and I think that's definitely one to watch. I think that the final one is NFTs. Now, a bit of a funny story is Sky messaged me yesterday and he said something long term. I can't even remember what it was, to be honest. And it just got me thinking. I was like, oh, long term. I'm going to buy some NFTs. And within the next 2 hours, I'd bought 70 NFTs. So thanks, Sky.
Well, what was funny to me whenever you told me that was, you bought 70 NFTs, but it was like, I don't know, less than like 3 Ethereum or something. It's like they're so beat down. Yeah,
because they're so beat down. And like the thing is with NFTs as well, like that like filters back into the dog coin thing, is that where is retail right now? Retail is going to be in NFTs. Yeah, and because Ethereum, most of them are denominated in Ethereum, which I think may change, and they'll probably become denominated in USDC in the future. Um, but yeah, I think you got to think of it if crypto is high beta on the stock market, the NFTs are high beta on crypto. So like yeah, that's the other thing as well, like that I really love is they're just so liquid that people will take a massive discount just to get out. So you find the NFTs you like, and you just put bids out for them on, like an open bid on LooksRare, and if somebody dumps you with 40% off the floor price, it's just free money to you, isn't it? So yeah, that's something I'm looking at. Like I'm always looking at NFT prices. Like there are some really good charts out there. In NFT land, you just need to be patient and let them develop a little bit more, and just keep an eye on space. Yeah, so really like those are just to recap. Like, number one, where's retail going to be? Is it going to be dog money? Is it going to be NFTs? Number two is obviously NFTs. Number three is metaverse, and number four is gaming. So I think like with that's where I'm going to be focusing. What I'm looking at, and obviously it's been very eventful with the 3 Arrows Capital thing. Like they were worth 18 billion in November. So yeah, let's see what happens there. That's it. That's very interesting.
So tell me a little bit more about the 3 Arrows Capital thing. I just saw some guys talking about it in the channel, and so they were worth 18 billion.
Yeah, so in November their assets topped 18 billion, and if you assume like half of that is liquid and half of that's in pre-seed deals and whatever. Yeah, it's just that they got GigaRex on Luna, Rex with Celsius. Now they're like clambering around because they would put capital anywhere that they could get yield, right?
Right.
Yeah, and now they're clambering around to they had a margin call, was it yesterday or whatever, and now they've got all these leveraged positions that they're all trying to repay. So I mean, we have to let the dust settle, and that's just like what you can find on Twitter. So
sure,
we need to have a look and see what's going on in more detail as and when a new information comes out. So sure. Yeah, it's not good. And the thing is like that, like I think to celebrate that is not a good thing, because
no.
They were very clearly that they have been like net long this entire time, right? And they are a huge provider of liquidity within these markets that is effectively now gone. So it's going to take the market a little time to heal and for people to come in and take the space that 3 Arrows occupied. It's going to take a while for someone to become the next 3 Arrows, and it'll probably be someone like Galois Capital or whatever, who was one of the big shorters of Luna. It'd probably someone like them who ends up coming in and taking the spot. But yeah, I think if you celebrate it, I mean, you got to take a long look at yourself, because
for sure
it's you should never celebrate someone else's misfortune. I know you can say that's a real beta thing to say, but it's just bad karma to celebrate someone else's demise, however much you may dislike them.
Agreed, man. I have a theory on the next direction, and a lot of people in the chats, I've been talking about this for a while, and that's layering on Bitcoin, and different projects that will be emerging. And a lot of people say, like it's too slow, but Lightning Network is growing. I think the amount of transactions on Lightning Network is at an all-time high. I mean, it's just climbing, and any day now it's going to reach some threshold that is supportive of a lot of the ecosystems that we've seen built out on all these other layer ones and Ethereum. I think you're going to have a similar sort of renaissance on Bitcoin. And now I think Jack Dorsey is he's calling it Web 5, which is funny. I had to look up, like, what is Web 5? It's like, oh shit, that's what I've been talking about for a while, just kind of as a general thesis. You have your projects like Blockstacks. I mean, these guys have been around for a while. and there's a few others. There's some NFT projects being built on top of Bitcoin, and until they sort of get Lightning Network up and going on their protocol, it's just, I don't think it's really gaining traction, but it's definitely one to look at, and one we're going to be looking at and using some tools to more objectively assess that ecosystem.
Sounds good. I mean, like, yeah, Web3, we're done with that. Let's just skip 4 and go to 5. I understand.
Cool. So, guys, make sure you give us a like for this episode. And let me check the questions here. No questions. So, Sky, did you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, so we can go in details of projects, later on, and because they will require different episodes. Right now, this general talk is good for the first day, and yeah, I can give more principles if you want, but I think it'll go very long.
Yeah. We're at 55 minutes, so I think we'll leave it at that for today. Just a nice little transition episode with our secret surprise guest, and yeah, we'll leave it at that. Appreciate you guys coming on and supporting my debut here on Alpha Tuesdays. My second debut, I guess, since I was on in March, but my debut as the host. So yeah, thank you, Sky. Thank you, Supreme Leader, and thanks to everybody who listened. You guys, again, make sure you click the like button. We appreciate you watching. Cheers, guys.
Good one, man. Thank you.
Yeah, cheers, man.